How's it going, you guys? It's Scott with Everyday Home Repairs. Now, taking on your own DIY concrete project can be a big undertaking, but for a pad such as this, for a shed, you can save thousands of dollars doing it yourself. What I want to do is help you avoid the top 5 mistakes that are either going to slow down your project or end in disaster, in addition to sharing with you tips, best practices, and examples to help you plan it out and also get your cost estimate with our DIY build guide. So let's jump into it. So number 1 is actually rushing site preparation. Digging out your grass, a lot of us would have to remove grass, but then you need to dig down because we want to put in a 4 to 6 inch compacted gravel base. It took me about a day on this project with a Kubota. I rented a tiller, a shovel, and a whole lot of effort to get the grade where I wanted it. So then I could add in my 4-inch compacted gravel base. Specifically, I'm using a road mix, which is a combination of the rocks and fines that will compact down nicely with my plate compactor. So make appropriate plans, give yourself enough time, and plan out if you need to rent any equipment. Mistake number 2 is just biting off more than you can chew or not having enough help, overestimating what you can get done in that amount of time. Here I have an 8-foot by 12-foot pad, and I thought I could get that done in 4 hours right before a rainstorm, and I almost pulled the trigger. But I decided not to, and good thing I didn't, because it actually ended up taking me 5 hours and 45 minutes alone to pour that pad, let alone actually edging it and getting the brush finish. And that's what we really baked into the DIY guide to help you avoid mistakes and help you avoid kind of disaster on your DIY concrete pour. So you can check a link in the description, or you can just scan this QR code if you're watching on your TV. So like I said, that 8 by 12 took me 5 hours and 45 minutes, 51 bags of 80-pound mix. That's about as much as I would want to take on in one day. So you need to kind of adjust your expectations. How are you mixing that? Are you hand mixing? Well, you better bring the number of bags that you're going to be able to mix down substantially. What are your conditions? And a plan to finish your concrete. When you extend your pouring out that long, well, you're then finishing in stages. So you're screeding off, it's starting to set up, you're pouring more concrete, then your start is setting up where you need to edge it, and then eventually broom finish it if you're doing a broom finish. So you're gonna kind of be going in phases throughout that pour and need to make plans so you don't get overwhelmed and you don't get the end product you're looking for. But let me show you a cool product that might help you take a larger pour and break it down into stages, which is perfect for us as a DIYer. So I wanted to do this 16 by 12 pad, but I knew it was going to be a solo job and I needed to break it up, but I wanted it to serve as one pad. I didn't want an expansion joint between it where the 2 pads were working independent of each other. So what I did is I found this product, and it's called Quick Key, and it is a keyway that you can use on one side of your forms. So here's my first pour. I put the keyway here. It gave me my level surface to run my screed board across. And it's also cool because the rod actually goes through the keyway. So there's these little knockouts that you knock out. You put your rod actually across your whole pour. You're able to pour the one side. The keyway stays in, and then a few days later or whenever you have time, then you can come back and do your next pour. And why it's cool is because you see that design, it actually has a keyway in it. So this pad on this side is now going to allow the new concrete to come in, settle into that keyway, and that is what's going to tie your 2 different pads together as one. So I think it's a pretty cool product. It stays in place, and it really then opens up what I can do in terms of pouring, maybe a driveway, a larger building pad, and I can break that down into more manageable chunks that myself and a friend can do. So let me know what you guys think. Have you used this? I'm interested to get your feedback. I thought it was pretty great. This is the first time I'm using it, and so far so good. So the third mistake you do not want to make, and that is not ordering enough concrete, not getting enough concrete for your job. You're starting to pour, you're well into your pour, you're almost done with your pour, and you figured out you do not have enough bags or you didn't order enough yardage on your concrete truck. That is a bad day. Do not go down that path. double check your calculations, and there's a lot of online calculators that you can type in the width and length of your pad, select if it's a 4-inch pad or a 6-inch pad, and then it will break down, depending on what size bags you're getting, how many you're gonna need. Then go 10% or 15% more just to make sure you have enough, and you can return those after the project if you need to. This is an 80-pound bag of Quikrete. These are the ones I'm using on this shed pad, and they'll yield about 0.6 cubic feet of concrete, but they are a bit to handle. So I would recommend you actually cut them down the middle, use a rebar underneath, and actually split that bag into 2 different bags, 40 pounds each, and it just makes it a lot easier to handle in your mixer. Now, number 4 mistake is not using some type of reinforcement, whether you're using mesh or my preferred rebar. Here, I just used number 3 or 3/8 of an inch rebar, 10-foot sections, cut those with a cutoff wheel on an angle grinder, and then just simply tied them together. Tying is very easy, and then I just cut a 2x2 piece of lumber to serve as a little reference for 18 inches, and that's how I spaced this out. And then I used little chairs here to make sure that the rebar is in the middle of your pour, and you're not messing trying to pull your wire mesh into the middle of your pour. So I do recommend that you reinforce like this. I love that these are actually going into my other pad, so that will help tie these two together. And myself, I do prefer the rebar. And number 5 is not helping your concrete pad cure correctly. Believe it or not, you're supposed to water down your pad. You don't need to go crazy. You're just gonna go ahead and get it wet. And especially the first 5 to 7 days, if you can do this multiple times a day, it's depending on your conditions, having that moisture at the top is really gonna help that pad cure. Now your pad gets a lot of its strength over the first few days, but really it's fully setting up, fully curing over 28 days. So it takes a long time. Now your neighbors might look at you crazy as you're out watering your concrete, but this will really set you up for getting the most strength out of your DIY concrete slab. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and also let me know, have you taken on a DIY concrete project? How large was it, and what was the outcome? Did it work out for you, or was it kind of a disaster? Remember that link in the description for our DIY concrete slab build guide. That's going to help you out. It's going to give you all the examples from this project, give you links to different tools, and it'll really be just a nice build guide in your hand as you're going through your own project. Now, if you want to check out another concrete project that we did just last year, check out this one where we went through a full epoxy coating on a garage floor. It was a really cool project, and the results were amazing. Now, if you want to see the finished product here, I have a little bit more work to do. I am renting a mud mixer, so I'm going to compare Harbor Freight concrete mixer versus mud mixer. How long does it take? What are the pros and cons? You can check this video out right here, and now roll everything up together so you can use that knowledge on your own projects. So thanks for joining me on this video, and we'll catch you on one of those next ones. Take care.